Watch what is happening right now. Watch what is happening right now with Israel and Gaza, Lebanon, Hezbollah, Hamas. Watch the world's reactions and watch, as do I, the total disconnect as to the fundamentals of what this is about. This is war. And what people have to understand more than anything else, the complexity of this is so deep, it will feed and drift and be affected everywhere, specifically in the elections. What I want to describe to you today is simply this, and listen carefully, dear friends. Look at this as an observer. Look at this as a realist. Look at this as not a blame affixer, not a finger pointer, not the usual idiocy that comes from this. Sit back and as a observer of the world, this place, this thing, look at the geography. You must look at the geography. What are we talking about? Look at where it is. Look at where the Gaza Strip is. The Strip. Look at its propinquity to Egypt and here. How is it? They are surrounded, in essence, theoretically. And you've got to ask the questions. What are the questions I want to know? And you must be able to ask the questions without appearing to be somebody who has fallen out of favor, someone who is acquiescing, somebody who follows the usual rhetoric, the usual stuff. When I was commenting yesterday on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and if I said something that I guessed some child did not understand, immediately the response came back with Zionist shill. That's this one group. This is a group of people who knows nothing but flame throwing itself and name calling. That's it. It's that simple. Someone else accused me of being a Jesuit. It's like, wait a minute, hold it. What? No, look at what's going on. The first thing you have to do is, if you are with people who merely call names, just use names, you're missing the point. Stop. Analyze this like you've never heard of these people before. Sit back and just analyze. What does this mean? What does this mean for the elections? What does this mean for us? What does this mean for the notion of terrorism? What does it mean for people who are still pushing for more funding, more money to Ukraine? Is it possible, as we embark upon this horror that is going on in Israel, horror, that people try to make connections with who exactly is Ukraine? Who are the Azov battalions in right sector? This is the thing which I can't say enough to you. This is the part which is the most important, the most critical, the most fascinating, and the most necessary for you to grasp is the complexity of this. And you've got to ask questions. And the first question, the very first question that anybody has to know is, how did you not know this was coming? How? You would have had someone, I would think, who is locked in to this area. You would have had every form of intelligence, saturation, social media, spooks, spies, informants, name it. How does and by the way, when you ask this question, it's not accusatory. It's not, I'm blaming anybody. It doesn't work like that. I'm not blaming Israel. I'm not saying it's your fault. You should have known better. No, because this is where people are today. This is where people are, and this is what they feel, and this is how it works. Whenever you say something, the first rule, the first thing people do is they want to say, have you somehow traversed the rules? This has nothing to do with this. The first question is, how did you not know this? You can't, for example, you can't look at Vietnam without asking, how did the American forces not understand what Vietnam was about? How did they not understand the fighting? Who is your enemy? What is their motivation? You're right next door to them. How does this happen? In order to amass this with all of this, with whatever information you have, Iron Dome and the usual form of security could not handle 3,500, 5,000 rockets because they're depending upon this. How did you not do this? Who are these people? Who is being captured? What information are you able to glean? Who is this? Who does the post-arrest, post-capture review? Remember, there are people, they're right there. This is your neighbor. Who are the people? This also goes to show you. How is it that right now, if ever you wanted to see this, and please forgive me if I say this, please forgive me if you think I'm being craven or crass, but if you don't understand the necessity of the Republicans or the Democrats using this wisely, correctly, in positioning the 2024 election, Trump should be all over this. Trump should be all over this. He has 1 day to back off his own travails, his own agonistes. He has 1 day to stop and say that our thoughts, our prayers, whatever you want to show leadership. Has he done that? Nope. Nope. He's still talking as though the world hangs on every case, every count of his 91 indictments. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Number 2, the squad. AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley. We want a ceasefire. Wait a minute. What? We want Israel to declare a ceasefire. They were just attacked. What do you mean a ceasefire? What the hell are you talking about? What? They should be all over this. The Republicans should be all over this. You can say, what? Force Biden. I'm sorry, this is political strategy. Sorry. Everybody's a political strategist on TV. What do? I'm a political strategist. What does that mean? Nothing. Like they're sitting in a room with a chessboard. Let's see. We have the caucuses coming, and you should make these people eat their words. Force everybody. Call everybody out. Hakeem Jeffries. Name it. And especially, forget Biden. Biden doesn't know where he is. But Gavin Newsom, would you recommend this? Say it. Pull him in. Commit him. Say this. Are you saying that a country under attack should cease fire to say, oh, no, we're sorry. Sorry, Hamas. Sorry, Hezbollah. Sorry, Al-Aqsa Brigade. Sorry. We'll back down. My bad. Where is that? Where is the leadership? None. Look at the coverage. Look at this coverage. Where is it? Right now, I am telling you, and let me just say something. For those people who have this idea that, well, the Jews own the media. The Jews own the media. Look at the media. It's killing them. They would love, they're this far away from siding with Hamas. They hate Israel. And it's not, I don't want to say anti-Semitic. I don't want to use anti-Zionist. Whenever you use that word, let me explain something. Zionist is a code for one of two things. One, the profoundly ignorant. I promise you, 99% of the people do not understand Zionism, the notion of it, Herzl, they don't know anything. They don't even know what that means. They think it's somehow, it's tantamount or connected to, or maybe it's Israel. I don't know. They don't know. They don't even know what it means. They don't know the history of it. They don't know the significance of it. They know nothing about G48. They know nothing. It's this word that they use, that they get in their kit. They have this quiver. They have these words, and they say these things. They say these things. There are these words, and they become part and parcel of, just like when everybody was saying deep state, deep state, deep state, deep state. They just keep saying this, LGBTQIA. There's just a phrase, just like anything else, like was, where everybody was saying like. There are people many of them, they're basically childish trolls. They don't understand it. And by the way, and let me also say something. Let me clear something up. There are people who are supposedly profoundly pro-Israel. They don't know anything either. Just like they're profoundly pro-gun, because they believe that they're going to play into this. I'm a conservative, and I'm going to adopt all of the nomenclature, all of the words, all of the taxonomy, everything that people use. They couldn't tell you the first thing about anything. It's like these phony baloney, these tin horn, 2-bit dime store conservatives. Well, I'm for the Second Amendment, and I'm for flag and God. You don't go to church. You don't read the Bible. Well, that doesn't matter, but I got my pin here, and so you've got both flavors of this. Israel is a lightning rod. It's like a bug light. It pulls them in. It's flypaper. It just sucks in people, and they have no idea. They will focus on one thing and one thing only. And I'm not suggesting it is not complicated. Settlements, Palestine. Oh my God. If you think it's that, of course it's complicated. The same way the people who don't know anything about Ukraine, they know nothing about it. You know what they think it is? They think it's about that little filter on their Facebook. Look, I've got my filter. I've got my little flag. Look, I stand with Ukraine. Where is Ukraine? Here. Where is it? Roughly. Dime store, playbook, bumper sticker, cookie cutter, echo chamber. Nothing. So you've got both people. I've known more people who believe in things, pro and con, who have no idea what they're talking about. Whether it's vaccines, whether it's American history, they don't know. So put that there. You see how complicated this is? I'm stocking the shelves. I've got this person, I got that person. Then you have people, yes, they're truly honest to God, anti-Semitic. Absolutely. Here's one for you. You're going to love this one. There were a group of people who claimed that they were pro-Israel. They were ardent, I don't want to say militant Christians. That sounds almost oxymoronic. But anyway, they believed that the Middle East, that this Israel is the site of the end of times. They are eschatologists. They believe that the Messiah is going to come, and Jesus, and it's going to be there. And the sooner they bring it about, the sooner the end of times, Armageddon, the sooner it occurs, the better, because it's prophesied accordingly. So they follow this, are pro-Israel, pro this area, because they say, frankly, they don't give a damn about Israel, Jews, it doesn't really matter. They say, we're going to accelerate this because the big payoff's coming. This is weird. These were the eschatological folks. So throw that in the shelf. You see how complicated this is? Okay. Then you have other folks who don't really know what they're talking about, but whenever Israel suffers, they're happy. And they couldn't tell you the first thing about Palestinian struggles, the history from Abu Mazen to this, to Fatah, to this, to the displacement from Hamas. I was at this thing that I can't tell you. I'm talking to friends. Whenever I go to anything, any kind of an event, any kind of a party, I get these, and they say, "What do you think?" And I thought, "Oh my God, I'm not even gonna." How do you start with it? And you've got to explain the Iranian element of this. You've got Hezbollah, you got Lebanon, you got it just because we believe we've always had these very simple things. We have us and we have them. We've got our uniforms and they've got their uniforms. And we over here and they're over there. They believe in this and they believe in it. So I ask you a question. I said, let me ask you a question. This is the thing which is important. Everybody, every war, everything that we've ever known usually involves something that's simple. What do you want? And whether it's the troubles in Ireland, Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, whatever, we want you out of here. We're a nationalist. We want to unify. Okay, fine. What do you want? We want you out of Northern Ireland. Whatever. Okay, fine. What do you want? Normally it's territorial. Let me ask you this. And I ask people, what would stop everything here? What would stop from Hamas, Hezbollah? They would say, oh, simple. We want Israel out. That ain't going to happen. And then as far as Israel goes, you can talk about one state, two state, territorial, pre-67 borders. But there is theoretically, and if you've listened to it, a titular, and strike that, an absolute notion of coexistence, parts and areas and this and that. So it comes down to simply this: coexistence, removal, ablation. Let me say this again. Make it very simple. If you went to Hamas, what do you want? We want Israel out of here. That's not going to happen. What do you want, Israel? Do you want Hamas to leave? You want the Palestine to leave? No. It's coexistence. Then we can argue that. We can argue about what borders, who leave us alone, stay over here. Okay, fine. So you got it? It's very simple. Coexistence versus obliteration. When you hear people say things like, we don't recognize Israel's right to exist, what does that mean? Do you understand what that means? Do you have any feeling for that? Do you grasp that? Let me see if we can explain this. Let me see. You never heard this before. It doesn't even, you don't recognize? That's right. We don't recognize Israel's right to exist. Can you imagine us saying this in Vietnam? Oh, it's very simple. We don't believe in Vietnam's right to exist. What? Oh, no, no, you don't exist. We're just gonna bulldoze you. This is what we're talking about here. This is the thing here. This is it. It's existential. This is where you're starting. You want to start with that? Go ahead. What do you want? What do you want? And you're going to ask yourself this question. Would there ever be a situation? Would there ever be a situation where, and you can talk about it because there are other folks who are, you want to talk about Syria, you want to talk about Jordan? Okay, fine. Let's make this very simple. Between Hamas and Syria, and Israel. Would there ever be, let me ask you a very simple question. Is there ever a deal that would truly satisfy Hamas? Yes or no? You're going to ask yourself this question. Is there something? Is it a matter of we haven't worked out the specifics yet? You got to ask this question before we go on. Do you think we're talking about folks who are willing to say, okay, we'll work something out? Yeah, I got a deal for you. Do you? Do you really think so? Understand this. Don't be upset if the answer is no. Don't be upset if the answer is no. Don't. This is not being mean. We're not being mean. Do you ever think there's going to be such a situation? There's something on the table where there would be peace and we could drive back and forth. Do you really want to go into the history? Do you really want to go into the history of the Palestinian Authority? Do you really want to go where the money is, who has what, the graft, the corruption? Do you really want to go through this? Do you? Do you? Do you? Oh, bless her heart. Thank you, Mrs. Beulah Talmadge. Thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you so much. Happy Sunday to you. That's the way we say hello. You got to understand, you got to grasp this thing. What is it that you want? We could start with anything. You could start with however you want to deal with this. It's up to you. You tell me, what do we have here? That's it. That's it. And I appreciate everybody's focus on this. There are some very smart people. Whether you're Roger Waters, I think you should be able to say whatever you want. I'm sorry, right, wrong, indifferent, hateful, mean, spiteful. I don't care who you are. Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Aqsa Brigade, Israeli, Jewish, but you say whatever you want. I believe in complete and total free speech. Complete and total free speech. Action is another story. But I love these stories. I love these stories. And it's so interesting because you'll say, we went to the Palestinian, the settlements, and it's terrible, and it's horrible. And I went there, and I went to Riyadh. Okay, fine. Okay. What do you want? What? What do you want? What do you want? Tell me. I'll fix it. Have there been atrocities? Come on. Stop it. You think there's any part of the world where there's not been atrocities on anybody's side? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you really? I mean, seriously. We're beyond that. What do you want? What would make you happy? Ask anybody you know, anybody you deal with, anybody. Ask anybody what you ask anybody. Edie Crowley. Thank you, Edie. Thank you so much, Edie. Ask somebody, what do you want? What do you want? What will make you happy? What would make you happy? What? What would make you happy? Tell us. Tell us. You won't get an answer. I just want to, okay, fine. Now, what is the position of the United States? I'm going to talk political strategy now, okay? It's like when Salazzo and Michael were talking with McCluskey. I'm going to talk to Michael in Italian. Go ahead, be my guest. What's the Republican position? What do we do? How do we fix this? What do we do with this? What do we do with this here? What do we do with this here? What do we do with this here? What? What do we do with this here? What do we do with this here? You can talk about support for Israel. Okay, fine. They're doing this on their own. We don't see Americans going over there. We don't see some version of NATO going to Israel. They do it. They can have support, certainly, but they're doing it. It's their fight. They do what they say. We'll take care of this. Support granted. Whereas Ukraine, I don't know, we're going to send some troops. Maybe here's some F-35, F-16s. I don't know. We're not. This is like our older equipment. Can you fly this yet? Oh, no. What do you think, NATO? Well, I don't know. That's the difference between the two. That's the part that gets me. What do you want me to do with Ukraine? What? Help them? Send troops over? Not on your life. Not on your life. What do you want me to do? Well, I don't know. What they want to do is they want to make the money and scam it. Understand what's happening in Ukraine. Nobody gives a damn about Ukraine. Nobody can find Crimea on the map or the Black Sea or anything like that, or Donetsk or Lugansk or the Donbass. They don't know anything about that. Is bring the money this way. We'll take it. Thank you. We'll distribute it. Thank you very much. It's like Al Sharpton. There's a National Action Network. When you donate to Al, that's we don't know where this is going. Okay, Al, thank you. This goes to the poor black folks, right? Absolutely. Okay, well, if you say so. That's a scam. That's a money pit. You know what that is. That's a no-show job. That is OC, organized crime, OG, gangster. No, that's that. What's going on here? What's going on there? No, I don't want to go through the mindset of but let's focus right now. What is the Republican? What? And you're going to watch this Bobby Kennedy Jr. Now's the chance for him. The other day when go back, Bobby Kennedy Jr., who is he really is a wimp. He ain't his father, that's for sure. He's a wimp. He's good. He's smart, but he doesn't have it. Not a killer. A while back, it was actually suggested that when Bobby Kennedy made the suggestion that certain virus vectors and certain pathogens and certain things could be targeted regarding a particular ethnicity, or they said that's anti-Semitic. Remember that? They couldn't care less whether it was anti-Semitic or not. Bobby Kennedy is anti-Semitic. Ilhan Omar, she can say whatever she wants. Nobody's going to condemn her on the left. Nobody. Elon, the squad. Well, I think there should be an immediate ceasefire. What? What? Give up. Give up? Nobody's going to, no. The same people who call Bobby Kennedy anti-Semitic are saying nothing about Ilhan Omar. Nothing. Can you believe what you're saying? I can't. The same people. So this word anti-Semitic, racist, sexist, doesn't mean anything. Homophobic, misanthropic, xenophobic. It's just a word. So the question, the first thing you've got to ask is, ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats, Gavin Newsom, Joe Biden, do you denounce the squad? Because there's this group of Quisling. There are these people here. What do you think? Nancy Pelosi, what do you think? Steny Hoyer, what do you think? Call them out. Where do you stand? Do you stand against terrorism? Let me show you some pictures. Okay? You want to see those? Oh, no. We're going to show them to you. Oh, no. And you tell me. You could, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a day, I'll give you 24 hours, you give me all your settlement pictures, and you show your atrocities. You go ahead and do that. Get them ready. And I'll show you mine that happened in the last 24 hours regarding old people pulled out of hospitals with dementia, march through town, stick a gun in their hand, go like, just humiliate them. Women, children, and I got to be careful what to say, stripped, on parade. God knows what happened to them. This is theoretically people who were yelling the names of religious names, and whenever they do it. This is your religion? Sexual abuse orchestrated? I mean, this is right there. Laughing and brutality. Hey, look at this. Now, let me tell you something. Give you 24 hours. You get your worst pictures, and I'll get mine. And we're going to win on this one. When I say win, we're going to show you. Now, you then turn to the Democrats to see, do you or do you not accept? Do you or do you not support these people? Yes or no? Your brigade, your squad. Yes or no? Do you or do you not? You tell me. Tell me how this works. Tell me where you fit in. Tell me your allegiance to rational thought or not. Tell me. That's it. Step number one. Before, draw a line. Hey, America, you don't know what America is about? Fine. And show these pictures. And don't give me this business about, well, these pictures may be too harsh. Don't even make me laugh. Don't even make me laugh when you tell me that. Don't make me laugh. You know, and I know America can take all kinds of stuff. We love brutal stuff. We love it. Don't make me laugh. We live in a filthy world of sex and grime and gore. And don't tell me, because you don't want this out. Let me show you these pictures of people in the back of trucks and yelling, hey, look at this. And ask yourself, very simply, Mr. Biden, Mr. Newsom, do you denounce this? Say it. Say it. Say it. Say you denounce the squad. Why is that important? Politically simple. You take your group and you start chopping it up. This sliver's over here. Bobby Kennedy, Bobby, come forward. Now's a chance. They called you anti-Semitic. Bobby, wake up, Bobby. By the way, I hope what I'm hearing isn't true, Bobby. I hope you've got your. So I hope you're keeping it zippered up. Watch what you're doing. They're going to set you up, Bobby. I'm telling you. You know what I'm talking, honey. You know what I know how you are. I'm just saying. But make a long story short, pay close attention to what's happening here. Pay close attention. Now's a chance for you to say something. Drawing line, and make sure people see this picture, because Americans, you got to understand something. Pardon my French. Americans are stupid. Just give them a picture and say, "Are you for this?" Remember during Vietnam, the little girl who ran, she was covered or attacked by napalm, and she was running nude, naked. She was screaming. Remember that picture? That's all they did. This. You for this war? Before that, it was that summary execution of that guy on the street. Then there was a Tibetan monk. Just one image. Find an image and just do that. But see, the Republicans aren't going to do that, because Republicans don't want to win. The Republicans want to be the perpetual losing party, and they're not going to do this. And all the usual idiots, the people like, the Fox News, they're going to beat their chest and they're going to pretend they're upset, but they're not going to really understand what we're talking about. This is, I don't want to say words like political gold mine. It sounds terrible. It's too crass. But if you don't know how to work this, if you don't know specifically how to, if you don't know yourself how to benefit, how to utilize this, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Next, the implications geopolitically from the point of view of what's going to happen. This changes everything. We are back to terrorism again. There's nothing high tech about this. Okay, you got rockets, but that's it. Paragliders, bulldozers, borders. Do I have to explain to you the necessity, the absolute necessity that is involved, that involves itself with the notion of this being a border dispute? By the way, I need 700 likes. 700. Not 300. This is very nice. I appreciate this. You're listening. You're hearing something. And all I'm asking right now is likes. Support, of course, but likes. Like this. Because what I want to do is I want to provide a platform where we can talk about this, and not in 5-second increments, not with a bunch of bumper sticker nonsense, not with the usual suspects saying this usual things. Do you dig what I'm saying? I know you do. I know you understand specifically. You know exactly what I'm saying. I want you to embrace the complexity of this. I want you to embrace it. I don't want you to run from it. I don't want you to always try to distill it to what's most simple. Oh, no, no, no. The level of complexity is without peer. Then I'm going to go back to these other questions. And we have to talk about this. How does the premier intelligence organization, the intelligence apparatus, whether it's Amman or, remember, Mossad is one thing. Amman is military intelligence. They're far more sophisticated. How do you explain this? This is your neighbor. How does it happen? Read Times of Israel, read Haaretz. If you want to read, you won't believe this is Israeli. You won't believe it. Haaretz is as, so there's no, when people think that there's some Jewish block in terms of information. Oh, no. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. There is confusion. There is argument within, like any democracy. There are people and aspects and whatever it is. But how did this happen? Okay, we're not going to belabor the point, because when you start asking too much, then you get into these people. Listen to what you're saying. Number one, when somebody can't understand something, especially our people, our group of people, whenever we can't answer something, you know what we always say? You know what we say? We say, well, it must have been again, lie hop, my hop, false flag. They always jump into that as part of their, it is part of their usual MO. It's the usual stuff. Let it happen on purpose, might make it happen on purpose. That's what. Okay, that's number one. The next thing you got to understand is what response is necessary. What response is, what do you recommend? And and you're going to hear this. People are going to say that the response has to be measured. It has to be consistent. It has to be proportionate and proportional. And it has to be somehow connected to what? What? Proportional. Yes, you have to use, wait a minute, what? You're going to hear this. Okay, Israel, that's enough. Wait a minute, what? What are you talking about? And I'm telling you, look what the squad's saying. Ceasefire. Ceasefire. Well, innocent people are going to be, what about our innocent people? Well, that's in the past. Now it's time for you to be the adult in this and just condemn and maybe some sanctions, go to the UN or really? How do you handle that? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with this? This is the part which is about how do you deal with this? How do you deal with it? What do you understand? And people will say, well, I don't understand what is the reaction? What? This is the most important. This is the $1,000,000. I need those likes, by the way. Don't forget. Need 700. So let me ask you. Let me make it even easier. What would you do? New York is separated from New Jersey by the Hudson River. That's it. And if in Weehawken or not Hoboken, but if they sent over missiles and took out, Battery Park or whatever it is, Chelsea, what would you, knowing who you are and knowing how tough you are, what would you want done to New Jersey who attacked us and hit us repeatedly? Sent in folks. They came across in boats across the Hudson. And I can't use the R word, but sexually abused, kidnapped women and children and separated them and killed them and drove through, the West Side with bodies in the back. What would you want? Tell me what you would say. Tell me. And you're going to hear this. Well, I think that the leveling of Gaza is disproportionate. Okay. What would you do? What would you do? Well, I don't. No. In fact, this is the you can't get people to answer this question. What would you do? Well, you see history. Don't give me the history. No. Don't talk about settlements. Tell me what you would do. Tell me right now. What do you do? Tell me. And they haven't thought this through. Here's the issue. And this is the part which nobody really understands. Nobody wants to understand. What is the mentality? What gets people's attention in this part of the world? I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds nuts. But there was an old expression. A lot of times people forget. They say, well, Israeli and Arab, and they're basically, a lot of them are just the same people. The same language, in essence, shalom, salam. They're right there. And they know each other absolutely. But there was an expression years ago that said, when explaining this notion of fighting back, remember when they were talking about Saddam Hussein, and he was showing this the response, this Saladin, and he wanted to be, with the swords and all this other good. They asked the question of him specifically. Oh no, they're trying to explain the mentality. He said, you got to understand that in certain aspects of the Arab mentality, they would burn a blanket to kill the fleas. Excess, uh, loud, powerful. There's no such thing as, overkill, over. And you also have to understand that you're talking about the hearts and minds of individuals. Hearts and minds of individuals. You have people who are, for example, when during the Black October, September, during the 72, during the Munich thing, people loved it. They were people. They loved to see, and you got to understand this, right or wrong or indifferent. They loved to see the idea of individual, kind of ragtag folks going up against, the big Satan or whatever it is. Okay, this is the mentality. In every country, in every group, this is the mentality. What do they think? During World War II, when you understand the mentality, understand what the Germany is thinking post-Versailles. This is what we are told all the time. Understand what is happening. If you want to talk about what's happening in this country regarding civil rights, understand the notion and the memory of slavery and civil rights. And all of the other, just a laundry list of horrors. If you want to understand what's going on and what went on during the Troubles in Ireland, understand the history from the partition in 22, and just understand this, the mentality. So I go back to this question again. What do you think is the way to handle this? What do you do? And nobody will tell you what to do. You will get a group of people who say, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm a flamethrower. I'm a troll. I'll just say stuff. Okay, fine. You got that group. Pro and con. You got other people who say, well, you're going to have to understand, you're always going to want to make somebody never want to do this again. How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you work deterrence into this? By measured, by quote, proportionate, what do you do? And you'll hear this. Now, why did they have to take down that building? Why did they do that? Why did they respond like that? How do you respond? What? What is it that is a response? And people will say, well, I don't know really. Well, what is it? Tell me what the response is. And I'm not trying to be, Raul says, attack New Jersey in kind. This is, of course, the hypothetical I gave. Thank you, Raul, for what happens if New Jersey were to attack New York. What would New Yorkers want? What would you do politically? What would you do socially? What would you do strategically? What would you do? How would you handle this? Nobody's talking about this. Rashida Tlaib, okay, sit down. Ilhan Omar, okay, somebody hits Ethiopia, somebody hits Mogadishu. What would you do in your native country? You're an American, whatever now. But what would you recommend? And they can't answer the question, or they won't answer the question. They won't answer the question. They won't do it. They won't do it. What do you think war is? When you get involved in war, what do you think it is? This is the thing that always drives me crazy. When you're in boxing, what is your goal? To knock out your opponent. Not to win by points, but to knock out. You want to do two things. Number one, you want to make the list of contenders as minimal as possible. I talk to people and have in the past, and I've referred to and referenced things like people who say, I want to have a weapon in the house. I want to get a gun for self-defense. Oh, okay. And what are you going to do if someone comes into your house? Well, no, what are you going to do? You're going to unload the clip until they are what? Oh, I don't know if I want to do that. Well, then you shouldn't have this. You obviously don't understand what this is about. You don't understand what this is about. There's no such thing as winging them, wounding them, scaring them. This is the reality of war that people don't want to talk about because people aren't adults. They don't. They speak their children. And a lot of them are Americans who, for the longest time, have enjoyed the safety and the sanctuary of their homes, and they don't know anything about this. Do you remember? Look at this. I need 700 likes, my friend. Do you remember post 9/11? Do you remember what people were saying? Let's go. And the people who knocked down these towers, we were screaming and yelling for retribution. Retribution. We want a retribution. You don't understand. This is retribution. We got to have that. Okay, fine. All right, fine. What would you want? I don't care. Just go in. Iraq, whatever. But they had nothing to do with it. Well, they sympathized. The, smoking gun could be a mushroom cloud. Better to fight them there than here. I don't even know what that we were saying stuff. Better to fight them there than here. Who are they? Well, the people. The whatever these people. Whatever. Well, whatever these people. Whatever. I don't know. This is the way people think. This is the mentality. I'm sorry to tell you this. This is real. This is the way people are. They're furious. They are furious beyond anything you can ever imagine. So let me ask you again, what do you do? Well, the good news is you don't have to make any decision. What you're going to see is absolutely blistering. Blistering. And you're going to do one of two things. This is reality. Number one, you've got to fight back. You got to tell everybody else, remember, we're in a different situation. We are surrounded by enemies. This is real. Whether you're pro-Israel, anti-Israel, doesn't matter. This is the truth. Period. Like it or not, this is reality. Number one, you got to show people around here, don't do this. I told you years ago there was this not a cartoon. There was this thing I saw one time, and I never forget it. It was in the Everglades. It was a pup tent. Somebody had a little pup tent, and there was a sign he put on his door that says something to the effect of, "You'd better really want to come in here." I thought that was very interesting. You better really want to come in here. So the message I'm going to say is, if you do this, you'd better really want to attack us. That's number one. Number two, you have your own people to say, do something and do something fast. So politically, whether it's Bibi or whoever the next iteration of political power in Israel, you've got to do something to say, okay, I want to make sure I didn't wimp out. Because remember, George Bush, they loved George Bush. They loved the first George Bush after Gulf War I. They loved the second George Bush after this. They loved Rudy Giuliani after 9/11. Battlefield commissions, people wait for battle. They wait for war. This is how they move through the ranks. It's a reality. It's true. Okay. What do you do? Next, here's what nobody's going to be doing. Excuse me. Rather than waiting for Israel to respond, let's go to Hamas. Would you please respond? Would you please tell us what is it that you think? Go ahead. Tell us about this. Tell us your reaction, please. Tell us your reaction. Justify this. Justify these means. Do you countenance and show the pictures of people in the back of trucks and laughing and yelling religious phrases, and as your women and children and old people, you're not going to hear that today. You're not going to hear it. You're not going to hear Palestinian Authority people come with microphones. Justify this. Justify this. Now forget Bibi. No, you tell us. How do you denounce this? Nothing. If you're not paying attention to what's going on and how this world works, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to hear that. That's the first thing. Excuse me. You attack them, right? Okay, good. We'll get to Bibi in a moment. Hamas, what do you have to say? Hezbollah, Iran, are you for this? And all of the people who say, yes, we join Al-Aqsa Brigade. Really? So you're okay. So we're going to put you down as having been in favor of this? Is that what you're saying? Nobody, Morning Joe, CNN, nothing. They will say nothing about this. Why? Why do you think this is? And the answer, for the most part, is going to surprise you. The reason why is multi-leveled. First and foremost, the least populated in this group are people who have an understanding, a true and immediate understanding of the history, the geography, the issues, the Palestinian Authority, Abu Mazen, the PLO, the history, Israel, the settlements. That's they represent this group. The biggest group here in this country in particular, the biggest group, and I would say a lot of other people, are people who believe in the following. They will say to you, I am a leftist. And that's the word that I use to describe what it is. I'm left. My politics is considered left, woke, whatever you want to call it. This is my HR booklet. This is what I believe in. I believe in anti-American, anti-tradition, anti-family, anti-God, anti-Griselda, I am this part. I am woke. I am for, like the woman, like the Antifa supporter who was stabbed to death, and his girlfriend isn't too keen about pointing out the guy who killed her boyfriend, who, by the way, was a social justice warrior who wanted the police to back off and back down. This is the mentality of this. Okay, but there are these left, and people will say, and because I am of the left, I am a sworn enemy of Israel. I don't know the history of Israel. I don't know what happened in 1948. I have no earthly idea. All I know is I'm of the left, and this is my sworn enemy. And they're bad people, and they're settlements, and they're bullies, and that's it. I don't know what exactly I want them to do. Now, if tomorrow, as part of my part of my thinking, if tomorrow I'm supposed to love Israel, great. I'll do it, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Roger Waters, great. What do you want, Roger? I don't know. It's my thing. I believe these things. I believe in Julian Assange. What? I don't know. What did he do? Something, he was a reporter, I think. Okay, yeah. Tomorrow's Columbus Day. And the left will say, I'm against Columbus Day. Indigenous Peoples Day. Because Columbus was that rat bastard who came over and spread syphilis and tuberculosis. And do I know this? I don't know. I don't know the first, but it's what I believe in. It's what I believe in. This is the left. I believe in pronouns. Well, they used to have pronouns. I think the pronoun thing is over. Here are my pronouns. Why? I don't know. This is my thing. They talk. I have no thoughts. I have no belief system. I want to be a part of this. I vote for Bernie Sanders or Jill Stein. Or I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking. I'm here for the beer. Operation Wall Street. Remember that? Or what am I talking about? You know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to do that. Why? I don't know. I just do this. Okay. That's the left. And nothing, that's the majority of what we're talking about. They have no idea what they're talking about. They have no earthly idea of anything. They don't want to fight for anything. They don't believe in anything. They want to tear down and destroy everything. They hate America. They hate what we're about. It's their thing. These are the same people, by the way, on both sides, who decide I'm going to cover my skin, my dermal real estate, with the most hideous of designs, because I'm a lemming, because I will do everything in my power to just fit in. I will dye my hair pink. I'll put studs in my nose. I'll destroy my arms. I have nothing. I am without. Okay, you got that? Good. That's exactly what's going on. That is exactly what is going on. Do you hear what I'm saying? That is precisely and exactly what is going on. Understand this. Now, let me also tell you what is the right. Almost as bad, but not as bad. These are people who have no clue either. None. They are pro-Israel because that's part of their thing. It's their, their pins. They put the little pin here. Got the American flag, Israel. Why are you pro-Israel? What does this mean? Well, because, and believe me when I tell you this. And by the way, there are a lot of there are people who are Jewish, but flags, Gadsden flag. You've seen these people, right? Thomas Jefferson, 1776. All this other stuff. You know who they are. You know who they are. You know all about these people. They just love this. They love labels and they love image. And my favorite, like I told you, the people who basically wanted to bring on, or wouldn't mind necessarily instigating and initiating a nuclear war, because they believe this is the end of times. This is biblical prophecy. They think it's going to happen. They think it is going to happen. And they were embracing Israel. And granted, this may not be the largest proportion of them, but they were embracing the whole notion because they didn't care anything about it. They weren't pro-Jewish. No, the opposite. Religion is this thing. Look at Mel Gibson. You want to read something. Do people really understand Passion of the Christ? Do you understand that one? You know what that message was, right? It was anti-Jewish. His version of the whole Bible was that, oh no, the Jews did this, not Pontius Pilate. This is this Orthodox Catholic business where they Barabbas in the sin. Watch that one again. Give you an idea. Militant Catholics. You know what was interesting about that? What's interesting was that they only spent like 30 seconds talking about the resurrection. It was all about the passion. Sparky says, I felt an instant sea change in public attitude toward the Vietnam War when the picture of 9-year-old Kim Phuc running naked was published. Before that, the war seemed like it would never end. Sparky, you are correct about that. Also, believe it or not, the summary execution of that VC who basically killed people, and the monk, the Tibet, remember him, the guy who doused himself, self-immolation. Remember that one? Absolutely. But listen to what I'm saying. Trump should own this story. Where is he? I don't know. And this is the part where, I'm sorry to say this, he's an idiot. This is where I say, okay, politically, where is this political savvy? What are you doing? You can come out and you can say things that are, this is about good versus evil. That's my favorite. It is? Yes. Who's good and who's evil? Well, it's up to you. You figure that out. This is human behavior at its worst. When humans kill. And look at the people, look at these Al-Aqsa fighters. They're in their 20s. They're young. And when you put people together, this is crowd, this is autocracy, this is mob rule. Look at them. These are people who are regular. They have they like music and families, and they're just teenagers, and they're like everybody else. But when you tell them this is the enemy, all of a sudden they go savage, hitting people. There was a corpse in the back of a truck, and they're beating it with a board. My God, this is your humanity. This is what humans are. Humans are savage. They're animals. Understand this. I am a realist. I understand behavior. I don't ask why. I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong. I look at human beings as animals. And what is happening right now? Watch carefully. Sit back. Look at what's happening. What are the news media going to do? The media are going to show this in terms of all of the pictures that they take, the pictures, the B-roll to get, they want your clicks, they want your likes, they want your metrics. They don't care anything about this. Now, who's right, who's wrong? Remember something. Remember something. What's the message? To the people of Gaza. To the people of Gaza. What is about to happen to you now, this is the message, is brought to you by Hamas. That's it. If there's a group of people and I push you into a crowd and I push you into somebody and I get a fight going, you're going to be saying to yourself, I don't like this guy who's fighting, but I pushed you into it. Mowerman says, Trump can steal defeat from the jaws of victory like few I've ever seen. I love him, but he drives me nuts. It isn't always about you, Mr. President. Mr. Art of the Deal, leadership, Mr. President. Now is the time. Mowerman, I wish we could put that on posters right now. Do you know what this is? Do you know what a real statesman would do, Mowerman? Do you know what a statesman would do? Do you know what the most effective? Do you know what the most effective message of them all is? It's very simple. You know what the most effective message? The most effective message is when you don't have a message. You don't even have to make a message. You don't have to even say anything. When Bobby Kennedy spoke the night that Martin Luther King was killed, he said, remember this? It was the most powerful thing in the world. He said, I know something about this. I had a member of my family. And the way he says it, the member of your family, like, yeah, the president, your brother. It was the understated brilliance was the most incredibly critical thing I've ever seen in my life. It was understated brilliance. President Trump should put down his own travails for a moment. And if he listened to what I'm saying, which he doesn't, he has a studio, he has a place. This is a studio. Anywhere you want, you can have a studio. For the love of God. Anybody has a studio. He can be anywhere with a camera, and he can sit down and say things like in general. What is our legacy? What is our goal other than peace? Speak platitudinous. Speak in anodyne generalities. Look like you're thinking about this. Mankind brought you some of the most incredible acts of brilliance and beauty and science and technology and art and mathematics and poetry that I hope would be our legacy. And then something like this happens. What is accomplished? Does war cause peace? He can just speak in general. A real politician would be trampling over you to get to the microphone to tell you exactly, this is what I think. This is the part I don't understand. Remember, I've given you about 50 different ways of looking at it so far, if you think about it. And now there's the political, and the political is the most obvious. Watch the silence. Watch the silence. Everybody, leaders. You'll never see, in an ideal world, you would have imams, Catholic priests, rabbis meeting together in these ecumenical shows but they wouldn't do that one because this is political. This isn't religion. This is political. It's not about religion. But wouldn't that make sense? Sparky says, but Biden had a fire in his kitchen, so he knows something about it too. Yes. He also almost lost his cat. I think it was his cat. Think about what's going on right now. We're giving, he wants to have another 100 billion to Ukraine. Why are we funding war? Why are we doing war? See, nobody understands. Nobody's yet to understand Ukraine because people, and I know this all the time, I can see it. They have no idea of the history. They have no idea of the history of anything. About NATO and Newland, and they have no clue. They have this idea that, one day Putin said, I'm going to go back and I'm going to reconsolidate the Soviet Union. And I'm going to bring it all back and I'm going to grab up those areas and I'm going to get all this and I'm going to go back and I'm going to start with Ukraine. Yeah, that's it. And they kind of believe the story because it's a narrative. Where's Rob Reiner today? Where's the usual suspects? Where are these people? Explain this one to me. Where's Joy Behar? Blow up that picture of the woman, I believe, in the back of the truck. I'm not going to go into detail, but the horrors. The people with dementia going and grabbing old people. Kidnapping. Explain that one to me, Joy Behar. I think even Keith Olbermann, may have said, I don't know. Roger Waters, what do you think about that? Tell me, explain that one. I'm all ears. Tell me. Tell me when Israel went into camps in the middle of the night and stole people and grabbed them, pulled them out and did these things and then paraded them through, just give me an idea. And we're not saying that, believe me, there's no such thing in every country and we've done stuff that's so, my God, we have Me Lai, for God's sakes. We dropped 2 nuclear bombs. But where are the left? Who are the people? Who are the people that you would go to immediately? I don't know about the Jane Fonda. She's kind of out of it, but I don't know who the prototypical, maybe the Rob Reiners, Stephen King. Do you see what Lawrence Tribe said? He immediately did an anti-BB. Then he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake," because they have diarrhea of the mouth. There's no ability to think. They're fueled and motivated by hate. Social media unclogs this intellectual bezoar where they just say these things. I don't understand how this works or how these people think like this. Silver Fox says, the Palestinian and Israeli conflict has always been heated and full of hatred and barbarism. I think we should denounce it and let them fight it out amongst themselves and not get involved. Well, I don't know what involved we are in. Thank you very much, Mr. Fox. Mr. Silver Fox, by the way. Thank you, sir. I'm with you on this. And by the way, it's not like let there be, but it's like, no, this is something that is not only is it not our jurisdiction, we have problems here. And I don't want to see anybody coming in to say, we're going to help you out with your border. What? I don't want Canada to come down and help us out. I'm not asking for Canada's help. This is none of our business. In terms of actual military action, people are going to argue, well, you support. Okay, fine. But actually going in, no. Like they're talking about with Ukraine, sending troops, advisors, no. Listen, there are things going on all over the world. And we're too quick with this because remember, we have a group of people here. Whenever somebody sends anything, a rifle, a bullet, any kind of military deployment, there are people who make a fortune. Every time you turn on that aircraft carrier or whatever it is, or whatever somebody's making money. When if China moves into Taiwan, go through the list. We're not talking about the United States getting involved in what? We're going to fight in Gaza? No. But get ready. And what you're going to be hearing right now is that remember, disproportionate or disproportional. Your leveling buildings has nothing to do with this. This is a disproportionate reaction to this. You shouldn't be doing this. And let me explain to you one thing which is very, very important. But first, Moorman says, when your favorite team loses today and you are in the deep throes of despair, keep this in mind. You could be the head of Mossad today. Could always be worse. Heaven or something help us. I don't understand how this one works. Moorman, I thank you for this. I do not understand how. And by the way, we're not talking about something that was just an individual skirmish. You're talking about between 3,500 to 5,000 rockets that were, okay, you would think that when they're amassed, you would have had this is right adjacent to you. You would have had so many people, spooks, spies, informants, intel, satellites, listening, God knows, social media, whatever the collective means of this. I have no idea. Something of this. And what's also the strangest about it, what is weird, what started initially, which was so interesting, one of the things which I found to be so fascinating is that if you go back to the history of Israel, the Haganah and pre IDF and the initial the ramshackle ragtag, the determined fighters who would use plowshares and even Krav Maga, the contact combat. Supposedly, the story is that when weapons were removed, people in the kibbutzim would learn this type of self-defense. Anyway, you're seeing this almost in reverse. Paragliders, bulldozers breaking through this seemingly hermetically sealed, this impenetrable border. It's the narrative of this that's inspiring to see them seizing a tank. You're not supposed to take a tank with a bunch of people. You're just not supposed to do this. It's those messages, that message. It's what inspires people. That's what should scare you, because you have, I don't want to say awakened the sleeping giant, but this is and there are folks at this level, and Bibi Netanyahu and others are trying to be cool and trying to be rational about this. But how this happened, I have no idea. It's just next to you, right there. Do you know how many things they have thwarted you'll never hear about? It's and where do you get the truth? Those are the questions I have. I have no earthly idea. None. But here we are in this country. But we're unable, and see, this is what I mentioned before. Trump could talk about borders. Trump could very easily say borders. Do you want to know why a border is important? What do you think it's important? Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible for the Zetas, the Sinaloa cartel, for anybody? Do you think it's impossible for them to advance and attack along the southern border? Do you think so? Knowing that we would be, they're going to be trying to filter this out and determine, whether we should attack. Do we have this targeted? Do we have intel? Do we have areas already plotted out? Do we have in our intelligence apparatus, do we have folks who say Sinaloa is here, Zetas are here, this is who they are? You know how we have pictures of the organ. Do we talk with Obrador? Do we have an idea? Do we share intelligence? I'm dead serious. We can't even control crime in our country. See, we don't have the resolve. Look, let me just say something right now. And I just, and this is the part that, and I want to talk about this right now. I want to talk about my friends at My Patriot Supply. I want to talk about this now. And I want to talk about preparewithlionel.com. Whenever you bring this up, whenever you talk about emergencies, whenever you talk about the idea that something could be shut down, where stores could be closed, where you're not able to go to purchase food, where you're worried, we have this idea, this hubristic idea that no, we have nothing to worry about. That's their problem. That's not us. That's their problem. We've lost any sense of self-protection, concern. I don't know what the word is. We've lost all of that. And if ever there was a problem right now where you needed 3 months of food, I know what people are thinking, that's impossible. Not here. Well, right now there is a 25% discount. Right now. I don't know how long they're going to do this. There's no warning off a 3-month emergency food kit. I promise you that if you went to this parts of the world, they would say, oh, we have, not only do we have food stored, we have bug out rooms, we have safe rooms, we have food storage, we have water. They're in a different mentality. We're not, because we're groovy. Everything's fine. I'm talking about weather. What about weather? We don't have this. Preparewithlionel.com is about changing a mindset. Preparewithlionel.com is for you to say, would you pay attention to what's happening in the world and realize that there's nothing special about us? We are not protected by some, divine, whatever. I'd like to think so, but it's not true. We're in the same boat as everybody else. Preparewithlionel.com. Right now, save 25% off a 3-month emergency food kit with a 25-year shelf life. 120 pounds of food. Just go and look and see for yourself. It's just, you can do whatever you want. You can say, oh, that's, or you can wise up and go to preparewithlionel.com and prepare. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. My friends, I'm going to be paying very, very close attention to what's happening, obviously, as are you. Let me also tell you something which is critical. Yesterday, I did an interview with a fellow named Jim DiEugenio. This is, I believe, one of, if not the premier JFK assassination scholars. He wrote with the screenplay with Oliver Stone, with this JFK, this reawakening and rethinking, and there's so many of these. This incredible, what am I saying? This wonderful series. Anyway, that's going to drop today later on. It is my take on a forensic aspect, a legal forensic, a medical legal, if you will, a take on establishing conspiracies. So that's coming up. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. That's coming up later. It's good. It's one of my favorite subjects, and I get right into it. We talk about evidence and not, whatever. So that's coming up later on. My friends, I thank you so very much. Thank you for your kindness. Moorman, thank you. Silver Fox, Sparky, thank you for your kindness as well. Raul Rodriguez, thank you. And the lovely Edie Crowley, thank you as well. We will see you later tonight at 7 p.m. More of this incredibly critical discussion. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you pay attention to what's going on. This is really important, folks. Really important. Because the implications of this are endless. Endless. We will talk to you soon. Have a great and glorious day. And until tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.